So the transfer window is officially back open today. Don't get me started on the fact that it's already opened, closed and opened again by the 16th of June, all for the sake of the Club World Cup, because I don't get it. But anyway, it is back open today and Manchester United are back to being able to do business. And I'm sure one of the positions that we will be targeting is still the striker position, because as of yet we haven't found a solution to our goal scoring problems. So today we're looking at another striker, and of course you saw it in the title and thumbnail, it's Jean-Phillipe Mateta. Now the nice thing about Mateta is that it already feels like you know what you're going to get. He's a French international, he currently plays his football for Crystal Palace, 27 years old, very nearly 28, 6'4" tall, and apparently available for £35 million. And it feels like quite a safe option. This is a Premier League proven player, a player who has no question marks over whether or not he can adapt to a new league because he's already playing in the league. We already know that he can deal with the intensity, the physicality, the aggression of Premier League centre-backs. So that's the exciting thing about Mateta. If he was to sign for the club, you would assume, you know, this is a mature player, an established player, a player that knows the league. He is someone who can come in straight away and make an impact. And the big thing that you're getting in terms of immediate impact is hold-up play and target man play. What does that mean? Playing the ball out from the back, perhaps from your goalkeeper or from one of your centre-backs. Perhaps you're struggling a little bit because the opposition are on the high press. You need a way to get the ball forward, and go along to Mateta and he is going to look after that ball. And the benefit of doing this is that it allows you to quickly move the ball forward into space. You see, we know that a lot of teams these days are using man-to-man pressing systems or some sort of hybrid pressing system, which will involve getting multiple players further forward, trying to apply pressure to stop you playing out from the back. If you can go long past all of those players, you're taking them out of the game quite easily. And Mateta is really good in these positions. Like we've already said, he's 6'4", you know, he's massive, but he's also bulky. He's a big, strong lad, right? Very muscly and a real handful for any defender. He's just physically a bit of a nightmare. But that doesn't mean he is a brutish player. He's not someone who is always looking to turn round and focus on the centre-backs. You know, he's not too focused on them. He doesn't want a wrestling match with the centre-backs. What he actually wants to do is look at the ball, concentrate on a good first touch. And I would say he's largely quite effective at doing that. Now, at times that does mean defenders can sort of sneak in front of him, because if you're watching the ball, the centre-back can come round in front of you and sort of just nick round in front and get the ball quite easily, but I wouldn't say that happens too often. Generally speaking, Mateta is good in the air, he's a good target man, he can bring the ball down, but the thing that's actually impressed me more was his passing. Now, the reason why I personally have been so impressed by his passing was because I was perhaps a little bit lazy in my initial assumption. You see, when we see this big, bulky 6'4" striker who is muscling off centre-backs and looking to hold the ball up, sometimes we forget that they can also be incredibly technically gifted. But in the case of Mateta, he is that. He's a very good technical player. And what I've been really impressed by more than anything is the fact that he is very two-footed. And this makes his life a lot easier. Because when you are looking to control the ball under pressure, let's say the ball is coming along, the centre-back is right up against you, you're trying to hold the ball up. If you are one-footed, it makes your life much more difficult, because let's say you are very right-footed and the ball lands on your left foot, it takes you like 2 or 3 touches to get the ball across your body onto the right foot before you can then play the pass. Whereas when you are a 2-footed player, you can drop the ball onto either foot, whether that be the right or the left, before then looking to bring other people into the game. This is where Mateta, for example, would be much better than Rasmus Højlund, because he can quickly get the ball under control and quickly lay the ball off, and that speed is important. If we are looking to take advantage of the spaces here that we've created by being more direct, then you need to be able to play quickly to actually take advantage of the space, and Mateta would allow United to do that. He's a very good passing player. I've been really impressed with his link-up work. And if you think in our system, with the likes of Cunha, another inside forward, Bruno Fernandes all getting round him, that could be really quite nice. The other thing about Mateta though is that it isn't just safe backwards passing, it's also progressive passing. In fact, one of the best progressive passing strikers in the Premier League last season. So not only safe passes backwards, he wants to get on the turn and try and bring other people into the game. And I wouldn't necessarily label him as a creative striker, but I would say he is a facilitating striker. Someone who holds the ball up, has a good first touch, and then looks to bring those around him into play. And importantly, United should be able to provide that, players around him, and if we do, Mateta is brilliant. He is brilliant at playing through passes. We saw it in the FA Cup final, his impact sort of getting involved in these deeper positions to help the team move the ball forward. Mateta is actually a very good passer. I've been so impressed with his passing detail. And again, a lot of these clips here will look a little bit simplistic, but they're so effective. Now, as well as being a good progressive passer, Mateta can also be a good progressive carrier. So let's say he picks the ball up in this central position. Those players make the run for him because they know he can pass, so the opposition drop off a little bit deeper to try and stop that space, but now Mateta has room to run into. A lot of strikers struggle to then take advantage of this space, but not Mateta. He's a very strong ball carrier. Again, he's tall and strong. He's got the massive long legs, so he can sort of stride forward and eat up the ground as he moves the ball forward. And, you know, if a small midfielder tries to come over and knock him off the ball, it's not going to happen, right? Because Mateta, again, he just uses his arms, sort of shrugs them off and makes it look quite easy. But Mateta is a very, very effective ball carrier. But not just in the middle of the pitch, also actually in the wider channels. And this isn't necessarily something that I was expecting when I first watched him, but over the past 2 weeks, I've been looking at him more closely. And I think he's alright in the channels as well. Now, I'm not going to say he's sort of like an Anthony Martial who's going to pick the ball up in the channel and really dribble at a man and be quite silky with his play. He's not that sort of player. But in terms of almost playing like a wide target man a little bit. You know, he can move into this channel, he can run off the ball, he can receive the ball in this position and hold it up, wait for support, wait for runners to get round him. I think Mateta is quite effective in that area, and importantly, once again, because he's two-footed, he's fairly comfortable doing it on both sides. So we've seen that Mateta can do the central play, coming towards the ball, holding the ball up and passing to someone else, or picking the ball up and driving at defences, or even peeling into channels. But what is underappreciated, I feel, about Mateta is the work that he does in the middle with his runs off the ball. I don't think we label Mateta as a player who plays on the shoulder and looks to get in behind and looks to stretch defences. But actually, he does it a lot more than you'd think, or again, certainly more than I thought initially. Mateta is very, very intelligent with his movement, particularly when someone like Eze at Crystal Palace was picking the ball up and looking to drive forward. Mateta is very good at sort of deceiving the opposition, and in particular getting onto the blind side. You can see it in this position here. Initially the centre-back can see Mateta, so he just peels back onto the shoulder so that when the ball comes through, the centre-back can't even see where he is, and then he sort of races through and finishes into the back of the net. Now again, he's not Jamie Vardy-esque with his pace, he's not that sort of player, he hasn't got that level of acceleration, but again I think it's his pure size, the power in his legs, the long legs, so the stride length allowing him to motor away from the opposition, makes him a really, really dangerous threat, playing in behind, playing on the shoulder, and this wasn't something that I was expecting to see. So let's say someone like Cunha or Mason Mount might drop deeper into the midfield. Could that drag a centre-back out of position? If it could, Mateta could then be the ideal player to stretch him behind, make the run, get onto the through ball, and then do his work in the final third. Now, I said there that these runs off the ball allow Mateta to do his work in the final third, and that is, of course, the final question. What is his work in the final third actually like? Is he a good goal scorer? Well, his numbers from the past 2 seasons would suggest yes. It's 2 very impressive returns in the Premier League, playing for a Crystal Palace side which don't exactly set the world alight every season. You know, they've played some good football, but are sort of known for being around the mid-table mark. So I think his goal returns have actually been quite impressive. So on that front, Mateta looked good. In terms of his shooting, what I like is that it doesn't seem to take him too long to get the shot off at goal. He doesn't have to take 7 touches to settle himself. He's got a good first touch, quick little start step, and then he's going to hit the ball. And again, the most important thing for me is that he is two-footed. And that is so important in tight spaces. Because let's say you receive the ball in the penalty area, a lot of the time in the Premier League, you're going to have a couple of centre-backs around you. If you are one-footed, you know, again, you are only right-footed, and the ball drops onto your left foot, then it's a little bit awkward because you don't really trust your left foot, you don't really want to shoot a goal, so you sort of take 2 or 3 touches trying to work the ball onto your stronger foot. By that time you've been crowded out, the ball's been cleared, and it's a waste of an opportunity. Whereas when you're two-footed, you are comfortable taking the ball on either foot. So basically what that allows Mateta to do is ignore which foot is his stronger foot and actually just aim for where the space is in the opposition defence. So if the space is here, he'll take the touch that way and look to finish. If the space is on the other side, he'll do the opposite. He'll take the touch into the space and then finish into the back of the net. And actually, statistically speaking, in the Premier League this season, as of around early April, I believe it was, he was actually the most two-footed finisher in the Premier League. The other good thing when we look at Mateta's finishing is, again, that variety. So not just his right foot and his left foot, but also where the ball is actually going in the net. So that can be in the bottom corner, in the top corner, sometimes sort of powering through the goalkeeper, through the middle. Mateta is, again, a powerful player. His ball striking is pretty good, if not a little bit inconsistent. But again, generally speaking, his finishing is pretty good. Aerially, perhaps not as strong as what you would expect. You know, a 6'4" player, you would expect him to be a real boss in the air, really, and dominate players. I wouldn't say that he does that currently, but perhaps that's because of lacking the aggression almost sometimes in his action in the penalty area to really go and attack a ball. But it is hard to criticise a player who had the 4th best conversion rate in the league last season. So who am I to criticise his finishing ability, alright? The only concern I have about Mateta out of everything that we have covered in today's video is one, he is nearly 28 years old. He's nowhere near finished. He can still play 6 years at the top level, but he's not exactly a project striker. So that is one concern. But the other thing is that everything we have spoken about so far today has been about playing in transition, playing when there's large spaces. And that's because Crystal Palace had the 4th least possession in the league last season, right? So they played a lot of transitional football. And I dare say at Manchester United, that will be the case sometimes, particularly when trying to play out from the back. We will have large spaces to hit, and Mateta will be good at that. We are a team that is far from the finished article. So again, there will be games where we have to sit a little bit deep, sort of have to suffer out of possession and then look to counter-attack quickly. Mateta will suit that. But can he play in those games, or can he be effective in those games where you've got a lot of the ball, where you've got 60% possession and you're trying to break a team down? Is Mateta that player in the box who can be a target man or have that really good movement to be decisive in the big moments? That is my only question mark at the moment, and what I'm going to do basically is wait and see if we see more transfer links with him, and if we do, I'm going to discuss how tactically he would fit into transitional games at United, but also those more condensed games where it's difficult to break a team down. But that is a job, of course, for another day, depending on how the news develops. For right here, right now, I think we're finished. Mateta's a very good player. He can do a lot more than what I was expecting, so perhaps it will surprise some of you guys as well. Let me know if it did. But apart from that, yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.